Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of February, 2021. I am your host, the Shozen One, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Bogul.
Oh, hello, sir. Hello, sir. How are you doing? You okay? Yes, yes. The last show we did today, the ZVZ show, you seemed kind of off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm off a little bit today. I woke up in a very painful manner,
Oh,
rolling over a dislocated shoulder,
oh.
and that was at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And I decided I absolutely needed to take some pain medications, and it has dulled my senses, if you will, and
I see. Okay.
lowered my joy.
Enthusiasm levels, or?
Enthusiasm has been lowered, but trust
Oh
me, I'm
no.
very happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this show. I get to do my very, very favorite thing that I get to do ever, and that's pull a raffle, like I'm just gonna do right now.
Wait, so
Um,
your job today is just to sit here and click on the raffle button once in a while,
yeah,
and I have to do the rest? Oh no.
yeah.
No, no,
Well,
no.
no, I'm not gonna make you do the rest of that.
Okay.
And
Because I
well,
do
fun
have a
steal.
few questions for you, sir.
Yeah, I'm not gonna answer Fun Stealer.
I think it's a good
And
bet
I'm
to
gonna keep
ignore
my
chat.
response.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep my response to myself on that one. He almost got an unkind response, and I'm not gonna do that today.
Mhm.
So
Well,
yeah,
Shozen does have a few raffles left over from the last few days. We did have a few shows that didn't quite fulfill our raffle quota. So you'll just um we have more things to go away. That's what it is. So we have what, 4 or 5 raffles today, right?
oh, I think I can do more than that.
Oh wow. Okay, so
Yeah, let
so
me
big
go
prizes today.
find. I can find out how many exactly I can do, and I'll report on that maybe sometime throughout the show. But Rain Key is the first raffle winner today.
Nice.
And best of luck to Rain Key in figuring out how to whisper the Chosen One and claiming his prize.
Yes, and of course we will have, after the Daily Show, the Newsday Tuesday show, we will have the 5 versus 5 matches and 20 UTC together with our man Tazik when he shows up. He might be late a little bit, like 5 minutes, but we will definitely be showing the matches today. But first things first, Newsday Tuesday is about what's been going on, what's been happening, and today we want to talk about patch notes, specifically the changes coming for season 12.
Yeah.
The current season is what? Let me look. 13 days or 12 and a half or something, right? Yeah, 12 days, 15 hours. We have 4 guilds, Crystal already. This ship has sailed at least for first place, right? Chosen?
Mm-hmm.
Black Order, 484k. Anybody contesting that? Is it possible even?
What? No.
Okay,
Like,
just making sure. Just
let's
making sure.
see. You could add raids with 2 eyes, raid 2 at 7th place to 2nd place, and you still wouldn't get 1st place.
Hmm. Okay, I mean, even if I guess even if Black Order stopped playing now and One Punch Man was winning all the crystals, the highest level, even then, I think it's gone, right?
Yeah, no chance.
I think we have a winner. Um, and but the race for second, third, fourth is still sort of ongoing. There is still movement possible, so that is not decided yet, which is kind of cool. And then fifth onwards, I think for most of these the goal would be crystal,
Mm-hmm.
and if they get that, that's good for the season. And we'll see. Do you think CIR 187k will make it into the final thing, the final bracket, or is that not? Is that too far?
I think that's a step too far. I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna be very hard to get there from there. I
Okay.
mean, how many days do we have left?
12 and a half.
No.
Okay. That's a hard no. All right, I'll take it. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Yeah. So, because season 11 is coming to an end, and there are some changes that will be happening in season 12. We have to go over some of these and look into these a little bit. But before that, we do have a quick fire shoot for some
I have a quick question, Bogle.
PSAs.
If I see a naked scout in a dungeon, can I kill them?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that would,
Getting off lucky.
because in theory, that guy could fight back, right? And then you would also be interfering with the world shows. That's not possible. We can't do that.
All right. Let's go to those quick fire PSAs. What do we got for the world?
Well, the same thing we have every day. At least we have been having for the last, I feel like a month or so, right? January 22nd, almost.
Well, we definitely need that junior video creator.
Still.
Yep. I can't say why, but we
Uh,
need one.
Yeah, if you know somebody who's good at making videos and who wants to work for SBI, making videos about Albion trailers and such, the ones that, maybe some dev talks and the like, then maybe send them the link. And then it's possible that your friend might be working at SBI soon. I'll put it in Twitch chat. You can take a look
That would
there.
be so cool. I like working with SBI. How about you, Bogle?
Awesome.
I mean, I've worked for a couple, 2, 3, 4 video game companies now, and they're my favorite by far.
Oh.
And it's not just because I'm working for them right now. It's because like I genuinely like the people I work with.
Mhm.
I like the way they do business. I like their game, and I don't worry about them suddenly becoming like pay to win or some nonsense like that. It's a decent company to work for. And if you have a friend out there who does video editing, it's a good place to join. End of story.
Right. And there's more things actually open. Current job offerings. SBI has this whole page. The job listings: junior marketing manager, video creator, mobile game dev, UI programmer, full stack web dev, full stack web
Full stack
dev. Yeah,
web
that
dev.
one.
Yep. And if you need more info on that, we actually did an interview with Raul, the head of the
The web team.
web development team. Yeah. And he explains all about full stack development. Though if you're going to apply for it, you should probably already know what it is.
I mean, you can always send it on, right?
Yeah.
You can always send it on. All right. So that's the one we had for a while. The other one, the Faction Warfare Revamped Dev Talk, that's out. We have also had here on the show for a while. That news came out about a week ago. And it's the introduction to what's to come next in Albion, right? We are towards the end of the season. We are towards a new chapter almost. So there is some of the things that will be changing with the Faction Warfare revamp, with the Royal Continent. We've talked about this a few times here on the show now, but in case you haven't seen this, this is a very important primer for what's about to happen in the world of Albion very soon, I think. We don't have a date yet, right? There's nobody telling us when this is actually releasing. It's just that we've started the hype cycle, sort of, right? And that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
I
like hype cycle.
Right. So go watch that Dev Talk if you haven't. And if you're on the website already, then there are 3 tips real quick that are also a little bit of a spotlight for the community. One, we had a spotlight for a Hellgate Hub Discord where you can find Discord groups, no, not Discord, Hellgate groups, and do some playing together if you're in the 2 versus 2, 5 versus 5 sort of shenanigans. It's been growing pretty much, and yeah, it's been shared around quite a bit recently. The other tips that we have in terms of community things are streamer spotlights chosen with our good friend Jim Bernator, of course.
Funniest guy in Albion. That cabbage video, Bogle.
Mm.
Mwah. I also love his character, Papa Jim. Every time he's about to rage, he puts on a pair of sunglasses and is like, goes into his character so that he can rage without really connecting himself to being the one who's raging, and does it kind of tongue in cheek. I do enjoy it. It's he's funny.
Mm. Right. So that has a few clips as well of him if you want to get a taste. And of course, if you haven't seen the Cabbage Merchant video, definitely watch that because that kind of was the thing that made him famous in the first place. And now he's just a regular streamer. The other one that we have as a tip, currently apparently only for Spanish speaking, right? Espanol, yeah. Norganon as HH. I don't read this, Shozen. I don't know. I think it's good. Look at this face. How can this be bad? Like,
He's fun.
yeah. So,
He can get a little rowdy at times,
mhm.
but a lot of the best streamers can, and he he keeps it mostly civil, and I enjoy him. He's very good at the game, and he's funny as well. There's a lot of good funny moments on his stream. I totally recommend it if you understand Spanish, and even if you don't, eh, I still recommend it.
Right. Okay. So that's all of the PSAs, the announcements, the reminders that we have for today. The next part is the meat of the show, I suppose. Before we dive into that, raffle time?
I just pulled 2 raffles, actually. The Mary and Rain Key have both accepted and claimed their prizes. They were very good at paying attention to chat and finding their names, way better than the people of the last 2 days. And I have 8 codes to give away over the next 2 shows. And if
Wow.
people don't claim their prizes in a reasonable amount of time, I'm just going to put it right back in.
Sweet. Good day to be there on the show today. All right, let's do this. Patch notes day. How do we make patch notes interesting, Shozen?
We read them.
Right, and that's funny enough.
If I read them right now, it's kind of funny.
It's kind of monotone, right? If you just go Rise of Outland patch 14 version 1.17.410 reversion 1815, that's not working. That's not. We can't do that. We have to pick things and choose things and look at what chat thinks about the random patch notes that we have. That one actually is already out. So that happened 5 days ago, 6 days ago now. Because it's technically after our last show, I wanted to get it in real quick. That one is the one where we had the new skin pack released, the Barbarian skin bundle, which is kind of cool. I was wearing
Are
it
you
here
out
on
and
stream.
about?
Yeah,
Are you out and about?
there. You can
Yeah,
see
I
it.
see
You
you.
can see
Hold
the
on. Let
stream.
me come stand next to you and I'll do the buttons.
Yeah, it comes with boost, chest, helmet, and not the floating book. That's just but the mount skin is kind of cool.
Yeah, the floating book is with the mage,
Right.
but I do find it to be the appropriate level of reading for a barbarian. As you can see, it's just glyphs. There's no words in there.
Yeah. Well, that's out. I've seen a lot of people enjoy that one. I think it's kind of cool. I like the glowing effects. That one doesn't have a weapon, right? Like the previous ones. That was a little surprise for me, but I don't mind. I don't care. I like my own weapon more, anyways.
So yeah, we got a question from Dr. Anders. Shozen, can you maybe tell me or tell us if you know how far along SBI is with the next content patch? Like 25, 50, somewhere between 50 and 100? I think I can go between 50 and 100. That I can do, but when? Nah. Before season 14.
We are currently in season 11. Season 12 is just about around the corner, right? The dates have been announced for season 12. And that's the things we have. There's no official date announced. We know that it's in testing right now, right? There's a lot of things that are getting, you know, balance finalized, if that makes sense. Like final call, and then see if somebody is managing to explode certain things, I guess. Um, and then who knows? Who knows? Soon TM, I think is the answer. Soon TM. Yeah, but the other patch I mentioned, other than the barbarian thing, has a thing that we try to cover on Sunday. Actually, Crystal League changes. Level 1 and 2s of the 20 versus 20 Crystal League now happen 6 times a day at the same time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not. They're not at the same time. Well, they're at the same times.
right.
Yeah. Right.
Sure, but for the purpose of covering these and having our show about them, and people competing in these, at one time slot a day, or maybe now 2 time slots a day, it was always the problem that you started out and then there was too much overlap between the full loot version, the level 2s, and the new player training grounds, basically the level 1s. And the mismatch apparently required a sort of mix up, so there's more diversification. So the experienced teams can duke it out with full load, and the people who truly want just some safe experience with no big gear loss can have more equal fights.
I'm going to mention this because Funstealer finally had his first constructive message of the day. They need to hard cap level 2s also. I agree thoroughly. I think they should hard cap level 2s, 3s, 4s as they progress so that the guilds that are up and coming in the 20v20s can really experience the game without having to drop down entire seasons worth of silver in a single match for them. I feel this excludes huge amounts of guilds who would love to participate in 20v20s, but because they instantly have to be prepared to go into combat with guilds that have 5 years of resources banked up. I really would love to see a situation where we actually go, you know what, when we're trying to get more people involved, let's actually try to get more people involved.
Yeah, I can see it. And we do have some more changes coming to the 20 versus 20 Crystal League in season 12, right? So that's something we will talk about a little bit later too. But yeah, hard cap isn't on that list, but is a nice idea. I kind of agree.
Yeah, I would love to see that in the future, and I've made that recommendations. I don't know, like 5 times this month.
One other thing that made it into the patch as well was the no-shows for the 5 versus 5 and 20v20s give season points. That was kind of disappointing. If you got you guys together and then just nothing happened. In the theoretical one no-show, that wasn't equally distributed. And of course the energy shield that was newly introduced immediately got nerfed like a week later. Not only the cooldown was increased, but also the thing is actually purgeable, which was funny when it came out because it was super OP.
Oh, that was wrong.
Yeah. Oh well.
I mean, I don't think I've ever felt so like embarrassed while casting a match as I said, yeah, just purge it. And then immediately people are like, it don't work. And I was like, why don't I know that?
Because it wasn't supposed to be.
Because like I don't mind getting names of items wrong or spells wrong. There's thousands of those. That's supposed to happen occasionally. I don't expect to know all of them. But when something mechanically isn't doing what it's supposed to do, that ticks me off because I try to understand those things. And I'm glad to see that it's fixed now and working as intended in all those areas.
Definitely. All right. Now, next thing that actually was announced on Friday was the Guild Season 12 full schedule. That is always a huge, huge post by Prince Caspian, and I know it takes a while to put this together. But but that one releases all the information about the dates of the season. We have the start date, March 13th. So we have an off season that is like about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, one, two, yeah, just about 2 weeks. Pretty short off season compared to some of the longer ones we had in the past. Um,
Well,
and
they've been kind of shorter for the last two off seasons, right?
yeah, I
Like
think
we used to
yeah.
prepare for 3 to 4 weeks of off season. Now it's barely 2 weeks. It seems to go pretty quick between seasons now. And I think that's for the better. It gives us just enough time to do the Crystal League Championship
Hmm.
and then move back onto the hype train of getting people ready. When the in between season period was too long, people just got bored, and it didn't work out well. And yes, I understand like some people still aren't huge fans of the season, but it does give us a really good way of calculating time in the game. And for historical purposes, when we want to talk about who did what when, it's really cool to have seasons. And with really long off seasons, it was making it even more difficult to give historical context.
Right, right. Wait, let me link this actually so people can see that. Bloop. There you go. Anything? It's nothing special in terms of the dates for the other season. It's still a 3 month season. We have 3 invasion days. That stays the same. The information as to when territories reset, what times, when the castle scoring begins, all that is in this thread. So if you're an aspiring guild that needs that information, you can find it there. But the changes for the season are actually listed on the bottom. So let's quickly go through the things that are up here to just see if there's anything different. I don't think it is. At least I didn't see anything in that sort of section. And the interesting stuff is the changes for the season 12.
Hmm.
And it seems like they're moving around the guild season point generation a little bit. Specifically wanting to make ownership of territories more important for the season win and create more incentives for activity in the outlands outside of large battles, including some 20 versus 20 improvements. So that sounds like a reasonable goal to have now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 20v20 is relatively new in that it's available for more people. Like it's always been there, but it was incredibly difficult to balance when you're only seeing 1 to 4 matches a month, if that. So now that they are dozens and dozens and dozens of them a day, you can actually start to change balance and start to balance some things around the 20v20 events. Uh, I'm in. I'm very happy with the upcoming improvements to it, such as adding more times to play, extending it a little bit farther from level 6 to 7, and it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see how many people make it to the level 7. Also, I did notice that they've allowed people to purchase tokens all the way up to level 6 now, Vogel.
You're talking about the 20 versus 20, right? I
Yeah.
just scrolled through this and I think this is an overview and we actually need to look at the full changes for season 12
Okay,
because
let's do that. Sorry, I am a little, distracted. Let's move on.
no,
Where do you
I
want me?
mean because the first thing on the list is the large scale fights section.
Mm.
Retroman's post, and he says they will flatten the season point progression curve between outer circle and inner circle of the outland to some degree, making the inner ones a little more valuable, but sort of bringing them more in line. And I never quite know what counts as outer circle or inner circle. I think there's probably like a whole different mechanism to determine that, but does anybody know how that works exactly? Or do you just click on the tower and then you just go like, yeah, that's roughly what it is? Because it doesn't say anywhere, right?
Right.
Hmm. So I suppose you just look at the tower when the season starts and you're like, okay, now I know what kind of tower type that is for the season. Um, yeah. So the here you can see it comparison. The inner circle, the most valuable one, nuggets 300 compared to 240 for the territories. The castles got bumped up as well, so these are more valuable, and the outposts also, well, not too much on the high end, but on the low end, they got bumped quite significantly. You see 20 for the lowest outposts, and it was only 8 in season 11. Although the top end, it's for the outpost at least, is a little similar.
I have to hurry up and say a name. Vinny Vieira, 11. You have won the raffle. Whisper me to claim your prize. You can see my name, Shozen One, in chat. It's the one highlighting your name. I'm going to archive this raffle and start a new one.
Any opinion on slightly buffing the season point outputs?
Well, to me, it's more like evening them out
Mhm.
because I don't think the whole concept of having inner and outer rings has really worked the way that it was intended, as the guilds aren't fighting each other for control over the inner rings. Instead, they're fighting each other for control of giant swaths of area that
I think it's time
encompass.
zones, right? It's time zone
Yeah,
areas. That's
yeah,
really
and it has nothing to do with the inner outer circle of it. And I just think that evening them out more is an improvement to just the people who are on the outer ring. Like they're not on the outer ring because they're necessarily less than, really. So it I would like to see more people getting to compete and have a greater chance of good season rewards.
the next part. Cluster queue changes is something that has been talked about a few times and that we've observed on the show a few times. There are a few fixes to the cluster queue. Now it will be possible to queue for tunnel zones or tunnel clusters, as they call it, for from instances such as hideouts.
Huge right there, dude.
And the
Oh my
last one I
god.
never experienced, but apparently if you're really locked, you don't have queue as well. Um, yeah. Now there's a difference here. The cluster queue will be available for tunnels. It wasn't even possible, but cluster queue skipping will be available for hideouts. So if you're in a hideout and your zone is full, you can only jump outside. You can't go in front of your hideout, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's still a thing, but that's an improvement versus just being stuck in your hideout if the zone's full, right?
Yeah, it is. It's an improvement for sure. Easy choice.
Okay. um, Here, disclaimer: these cluster queue changes will not go live with the season start, but are planned for the first patch after the season starts.
What patch do you think that's gonna be, Bogle?
Patch? What do you mean?
Is that patch 1
It's first
or is it patch
patch.
16?
No, no, no. Oh, I know what you did there. Did you
Mm-hmm.
get it, guys? Did you get it? Because if it was patch 1, that would be the call to arms patch 1, and if it was patch 16, then it would be the current. Then that would mean that CTA isn't out yet. Chosen.
Mm.
I see. I see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. I'm hoping it's patch 1.
I'm gonna tell you, Bogle. Like, do you know how many times like call to arms has come up in conversations with SBI? Like, we're talking about that patch, and I'm just have no idea what the name of the next patch is because they went and skipped the S patch, and I'm just like, I don't have any freaking clue what the next one is. Is you ruined all my like. I was ingrained for
A, B, C, D. Yeah.
yeah, S, the Shozen patch. I'm just gonna start calling it Shozen. Forget it. That's it.
Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Well, I think we should get an announcement soon, right? It's about that time where people go like, all right, it's the next season. Is it going to make it? And
Scald your arms? Is that what we're calling it? Scald your arms? No, no, we're not gonna call it that. That lady was mean. All right, let's what's next on the docket,
hideouts,
Bogle?
hideouts.
Hideouts.
will only regenerate one shield after a successful defense instead of all shields at once. This is relevant for the hideouts, for the Outland gameplay and the mists, right?
Yes.
I don't know what to think about this.
I have mixed feelings. We've talked about that in the past. We've talked about it yesterday a bit. I liked the idea of giving back all the shields as it reminded me of the old school home plots. And this feels almost like it's going to be, it's going to force people to defend earlier, for one, which is good. But it also gives the attacker more of an advantage. And they kind of already had the advantage.
Because you can't zone out if it's full, or what?
Right.
Do you mean?
Like the zoning has been a problem, though. It sounds like they're going to make adjustments to that.
Yeah.
I read up there in the cluster queue changes.
I mean, the official note here is that while this makes it more vulnerable, they hope to encourage more attacks on multiple fronts. So if you have multiple hideouts, and hopefully it should make it a valid strategy to attack multiple ones. Because if you just defend once, and then you can always project all of you guys into one place, and then have a good chance to, if you don't win one, but on the second day you just negate the whole attempt. And I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I would phrase that.
Yeah.
Also,
cautiously optimistic.
This change is also scheduled for the first patch after the season
starts. Patch 16.
They also intend to make further adjustment to hideout mechanics in patches throughout the season. They want to address how easy it is to create a safety net with multiple hideouts and the power projection it enables. Further adjustments. I don't know what that is supposed to mean, but it seems like they're looking at, it's been a year since Queen, right? Now, almost. Am I wrong?
It's over a year since Queen now, Bogul. January 20th was Queen.
Yeah, so it's
19th even.
It's what you have in business sometimes. It's like a 1-year review sort of thing. I think that might have happened, where people just sit in a smoky back room and then go, all right, let's look at the last year. Oh, Queen. Hideouts. And then I think some of that might have come out of this into the next future soon. Do you know that meme where the guy flies out the window? That one? That kind of meeting?
Oh, when he says, hey, you know what people would really like?
Yeah.
A use all button, and then they throw him out the window.
I think there was a similar meeting with hideouts, maybe. Right. Castle chest. The value of the castle loot chest is doubled and now may also contain artifacts. This is to incentivize more frequent fights over the chest and to offer rewards that are more fitting for the actual group sizes that contest these objectives. So the feedback is the castle loot bad, give more. And SPI is like, yep. You guys are brawling over this day and night with too many people. All right, sure, you can have more. That's acceptable. Any opinion? I don't have one. It's just okay.
Well, no, I like the idea of having better loot for the castles because I do want to show more castle fights. That's something I have planned in the future. I can't give more info than that other than it might make Funstealer happy. And if you know Funstealer and you know what he wants and you think that there's a thing out there that would make him happy, I might be doing that. Maybe. Soon.
Small scale objectives in the open world boss locations. While the open world bosses like the Demon Prince are defeated for season points, the mobs in the area are currently not played much at all. First question, how do you play a mob?
Wait, what?
They are currently
Read
not,
that back to me. I wasn't paying attention to you hard enough.
the mobs in this area are currently not played much at all. So people just skip
Oh,
them.
killed. Yeah, they're not killed much. People aren't
Right.
fighting them. They're just bloop, done.
To
Next.
entice players to stay active in the area and create an open world hotspot, blah blah blah. They're shifting the fame's bonus source from the boss to the surrounding mobs.
Oh, both like, hey, that's cool, and a real kick in the nuts.
Why?
Well, because they're switching it from the boss mob, which everybody wants to kill for the loot and the fame,
To the
and
trash?
saying now you have to go kill the trash.
Uh-huh.
And while I know of some places such as Innis Mons where this is done regularly, there are others where people aren't as interested in killing those bosses. I mean, not bosses, but the mobs around them. So, no fun, Sailor. It's not the base fame that is being changed. It's the bonus fame.
Right, the fame buff you get?
The fame buff that you get for doing it.
Right.
Now, if you do want to grind the mobs around it, this will probably result in more overall fame.
Right. I think
But there are groups that kind of sit around and do nothing while they wait for shit, and they've gotten really used to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing more mobs taking like the area of Innis Mons, where you kill the boss and then you farm the mobs around it in waves. So we'll see if that works in other areas.
I want to briefly go to a question from Chad. Any improvements to stop GVG players? That question doesn't make sense. Any improvements to stop GVG players? What do you mean draw ranged? Any improvements for GVG players?
Oh, wow. Any improvements for CVG players for...
There will be some for the 20 versus 20. We'll get to that in a second. Yes. The answer is yes. So the mobs give you a 1% fame bonus that stacks up to 50%. Bonus PvE fame. The buff is lost on death or cluster change, not just cluster Q. And the world boss itself, will no longer give the fame buff, because that one should be rewarding enough as is.
Yeah, once you get all the fame buff from the mobs outside.
Yeah.
Okay. It's to encourage you to kill the mobs.
Right.
And yeah.
Static dungeons. This buff will also be introduced to all non-basic mobs of undead. What is non-basic in static dungeons?
Legend, like elites and veterans.
Okay, found in non-instanced content, i.e. static dungeon locations in the open world. So that would be the...
Wandering mobs.
No. I think quote-unquote wandering mobs are basic mobs.
Not all of them are. There's some elites and veterans, especially around the world. Like the notable locations in the world, you'll find them.
So do you think if you walk around the areas and just hunt the elite mobs, you get that fame buff too? Do you read it like that?
I that's how I read it. That's how I'm reading it. But
because it says static dungeons.
Yeah.
As a headline.
And then it says
basic group mobs. Group mobs as well. So there might be a difference between the elites that spawn in the normal zones versus quote unquote group mobs that have, I think, the swords with the yellow sort of thing, versus there's the bigger. Do you know what I mean? I can't find one right now, but you know, kind of interesting. Why not? These people have been complaining about them being kind of not in line as much, and I think that's just bringing it a little bit better.
Well, we've talked about how the what has traditionally been referred to as wandering mobs, though I think they might be talking about them as group mobs in this instance, as you notice, there's a big difference of the way that mobs are grouped together in the old world and the roads. In the roads, you see much more clustered mobs that seem to fight together, where in the old world, you'll have like two or three of them kind of near each other. And that's not quite the same as the grouped mobs you have over in the roads. Now, we do know that the Royals are getting an entire rework, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see many of the mobs that have been traditionally known as wandering mobs, the ones that are just spread across the entire map, as like raisins inside of a raisin bread or something like that. It's they're going to be more clustered together in little groups that will have um, this fame buff in the future. So that encourages you to kill these, because right now there's not a lot of encouragement to kill a lot of the overworld mobs, except for in very special certain locations, which is very different than what the game used to be when you and I first started playing, where you would almost always want to kill these above, world mobs, um, when you had the opportunity because they were worth so much.
Mm. Um, just just to go back for group mobs, right? So the dudes you see in the world map, and normally that these, right? They don't have any special sign. They're just normal. And then there's the higher ones with this circle below, and I think these aren't classed as group mobs either. I think the dudes that are classed as group mobs are literally in these zones that require a group. So these ones, right, with that kind of sword sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the ones that this is referring to.
Okay. Well, you see some of those over in the above world, but they generally have two or three mobs grouped with them as well. So you could be completely right.
All right.
I'm just gonna say Bogul's right. There we go.
I
How's
hope
that
so. I
sound?
hope so.
Everybody's
Yeah.
ready.
Lesser Outland Treasure Chest. Now, what's that one? According, Outland Treasure Chests now spawn more often every 60 minutes. The loot has been reduced accordingly, but in turn, they will have a chance to contain artifacts of tier 6 and higher to make up for the silver output reduction.
Mm.
With a hope to encourage more fights outside of CTAs. And the important thing is they spawn at the 0:30 minute mark. So 0:30, 1:30, 2:30, etc. So it's not on the CTA timers, but half an hour later, which is kind of cool.
Sorry, I have to. I was just typing that links are not allowed.
You can just say it, dude.
I know. I realized that as I was making the silence in the show. Oh boy. For those who are new to the show, this isn't generally how the show goes. I'm usually a little bit more upbeat. Sorry. Had a bit of a under the weather today, we'll just say. Hey, Shadow Rider.
And of course, the outlines treasures are these ones, right? That you can even see when they spawn and or revealed, I think it's called. Yeah, and then two of the 20 versus 20 Crystal League changes. That's the next big one. We sort of mentioned it that now we have them at a certain timer, right? We have the ones and twos at a certain timer, but for season 12, they will be introducing a new level of 20 versus 20 Crystal League, and that will bring the total amount of levels to 7. And they sort of insert it here at the lower end, making it very similar to the 5 versus 5, how they work. So you have more distribution for the lowest level, so people can kind of mix and match what their skill level is, right? 1, 2, and 3 will be at the same time as well. So the best quote unquote teams will be doing the level 3s. The worst quote unquote teams will be doing the level 1s, and then if you're kind of confident and you're not totally noob anymore, then you're probably hanging in the 2s, which is kind of cool. It works very similar to the 5 versus 5, and yeah, the prize pool changes a bit. The caps for the different levels change a bit, but the rest of the 20 versus 20 leagues stay sort of the same, right?
Yeah, it does seem it's very similar to the way it used to be. but they did add level 3s daily. They've added level 1s and 2s at the same times daily. So
Yeah,
you don't have to do level 1s.
no, that's what I said. The level 3s will also be at that time slot,
Yeah, yes.
right? So
All those things are good.
yeah.
Well, there's also there's I believe there are more slots as well, aren't there? Because they put them on the half hours as well. They doubled up the slots.
Well, I guess technically that's more slots, yeah. But they just allow you to do the same level at two different spots half an hour apart. Yeah. So yes. More possibility for more 20 versus 20.
Mm.
And the match rule changes. That is affecting all of them, right? The point loss on player kill is going from 1 to 2, and the total points per match is going from 200 to 250. I posted my opinion in chat that
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked for the level 1s to see, a simulation of the higher ones where you have a certain fixed amount of quote unquote deaths you can have or lives you can have, to simulate the higher experience. But this is across the board.
Right.
Um, and any opinion on that? Whether or not it's going to affect it or how? Or
Well, I think that you'll see less deaths than we do now, because if you get 100 deaths, you've lost at this point. We were seeing teams die
in the level
120
ones, in the level
times
ones, yeah.
in the level 1s. Yeah, 120 times. And their opponents losing, 60 players. And that's just too much when it's 2 points per. And I think at the level 1s, that'll make a huge difference to the way that people have to play. Like, it just won't be, oof. Um, you'll have to die less in level 2s and 3s and 4s. It might cause people to focus a little bit more on killing, which I think will start to separate more of the good teams from the bad, in that the good teams will still go for caps and the bad teams will get a little bit bloodthirsty, going, but I still get 2 points.
I mean, maybe the focusing on demolishing your team completely strategy might be
It
more
doesn't.
valuable, yeah.
I don't think it'll be more valuable.
No,
I think it'll be more tempting,
but not
but
enough.
not any more
Okay.
valuable. Like, I still think the huge amount of points that you get when you even have one cap of 20 um, points above your opponent, that is the equivalent of 10 kills still. You get two of them and it's more than your opponent. That's 40 points. That's
Mm-hmm.
20 extra kills.
Yeah.
And the mistakes we see time and time again are when we watch a group that pushes up the stairs, starts heading towards tent, trying to secure those last 3 kills on a push, and they've got 10 people pushing against 3 or 4 as they're going up, up towards tent. And that allows the other team to run back behind and get a cap, or run back behind and get 2 caps. And it's just not worth it. Don't focus so much on kills. This is my advice to you after watching all the city fights. Focus on the caps. Work on your cap game. Understand how to be there at the caps and protect them when you have them, and be able to rotate quickly to the caps you have. Spend more time defending the caps you have instead of pushing down and towards tent. Sorry, guys. It's frustrating watching a lot of these 20v20 players.
Oh well. I mean, changes happen. It's I like the idea, but let's see how this works out. We'll definitely get a feel for it very soon. So if, we'll also be casting these and showcasing the 20 versus 20s for sure in the next season as well. So you can watch that here on the channel as
Yeah.
well.
I was very happy now that we have better matches that we can show on Sundays. I'm sure those of you who've watched me uh, cast the level 1s understand just how much I love watching level 1 20v20s.
Not very much. Not very
Oh
much.
boy, can we?
Can we skip
Uh,
this? Forward. Uh. um Guild challenge. We decreased the season points gained for the first 15 guild challenge levels to reduce the amount of global siphoned energy generated via the guild challenge and put more emphasis on open world objectives. We're hoping you look forward to the changes. Yeah.
I don't think that was Fun Stealer who said that, Bogle. I think you timed out the wrong person.
Bad luck.
Don't worry, he's already been timed out a couple of times today. He's used to it.
What do
We
you
love you,
think?
Fun
What do you
Stealer.
think about that? The reduction on the lower end for the guild challenge, because I know a bunch of people just made guilds to get the guild challenge, and then just made another one, and then
I don't honestly. I don't know.
yeah.
I have not been involved with these guild challenges at all. I participate in my guild and get them some points, but I don't understand what the rewards really are for these guys on them. I don't really pay attention to that. I'm much more, into my own monthly challenge. Um, I show up with my guild very rarely. If there are people who are making potato guilds just for these rewards, then yeah, grind them out, punish them, take them down a notch.
Right. Yeah. That's the last announced change of the season 12. One fun thing I want to do is look at something in game. So Friday 17 at 10:47 a.m., which is 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago, right? Friday 1, 2, 3, 4 days ago, and then if we look in game, there's a little spike here. 4 days ago, people buying siphon energy, and now it's coming down again quite significantly, almost to the same level. But people went to the patch notes and they're like, with the goal of reducing the global, what does it say? And then they immediately went to the market and were like, all right, let's buy. There, to reduce the amount of global siphon energy generated via the guild challenge. Now, the question is if the global amount is staying the same because there's more output through the castles and other activities, or if the global output is actually changing because of the change to the guild challenge specifically. And that's a fun thing. Apparently, people just read global reduction bloop by. I love this kind of situation.
I wish I could pay attention better to what you just said.
Chat did. Don't worry, chat did.
Okay, as long as chat understands and they are sharp as tacks right now, all is good. Love you all. I'm going to pull a raffle.
Nice.
Hey, Fresh Kiwi, you won again. Congrats. And you just said absolutely. Look at you. It's like it picks the last person who talked. Yay. There, I typed so you could click on me easier. I will be pulling another one during this show and then another 3 during the next show, so don't worry, there's many more raffles to go, guys.
All right. We have one more thing because we're done with the announced changes for the season 12. If we talk about the future, it's always fun to look at, the other things that are planned. And there's the patch 15 on the test server right now that actually has one other change for the season 12 that wasn't mentioned in the other post, which is that they are slightly tiny upping the season point bracket. So Crystal, you get a 250k, not 240k, which is 10k difference isn't a big deal. Gold 75 to 80. That's not a big change at all. I think it's just to make the numbers look better, Shozen. I think this doesn't have any real meaning.
None. That amount of silver doesn't have any impact really at these points. I'm sorry, these points don't have any impact at these levels. Holy Jesus.
Yeah.
Thank Tazik's here. He can start answering these questions for people.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's about it for the patch 15 differences. I wanted to bring up the Retroman NDA thing because there's one thing that I wanted to, as a final thing for us, that I wanted to mention, but it's not here. I have to go look for it. It's somewhere else. General questions and discussions, NDA balance play tests. Retroman, the game balance designer, always posts the current in testing changes, so these are not even confirmed, right? These are even way further out in the future. But one thing that's on there is that the Quarterstaff will have their separator spell potentially reworked. Vault Leap, that sort of makes you jump around. Kind of cool as an idea. Have you seen this?
Yeah. You're
Any opinions? Comments? No?
I haven't seen this one.
Okay.
Vault Leap?
Yeah.
No, I have not seen this one. You caught me off guard while I was taking care of disciplinary actions. Unfortunately, no, I have not seen this one, and I'm gonna have to read it right now. Vault Leap.
That sounds nuts, dude.
Hello, Tazik. Welcome.
That sounds wild. That's the E on the new Quarterstaff? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
It's the separator from it. It's changed. Now called Vault
So
Leap.
it does. The damage is negligible, right? It does no damage.
Yeah, they're not big damage.
But it throws
it's
them
the
up for a
freaking
0.8 second base, right? That's a baseline number. So
Uh-huh.
how much is it after CC changes? You know,
If you
what are you
hit
getting at?
somebody,
1.4?
you become immune to
Yeah, that's what
crowd
I'm saying,
control
right?
effects. That's what's the
What
huge
is
one to
that
me.
one? They're
That's the
both
huge
nuts.
one.
They're two nuts things in one. Imagine you E in, the guy's up in the air for 1.5 seconds, and then you're immune for 1.5 seconds.
15-meter range?
That sounds wild.
Or 15 M. We have to stop calling it meters. We've looked at what
15?
meters would be.
It's just 15 15 meter, 15 meters.
M.
15 meter. You don't know the scale of Albion, do you?
It's an M, apparently.
Bogul, how tall are you?
M.
How many meters?
M meters.
He's M meters.
Taller than you, Shozen. Where are you going?
Probably
with this?
are. I'm not gonna.
Where are you going with this?
So that we could say what the average height of a human being is, and then compare that to what we see from M on the screen, and we could all agree that it's not always. Doesn't seem to be a meter.
Do you want to measure the?
I would love to do it.
Of the
I want to
Vault
bring.
Leap
I
and
want to bring in Retroman and have him explain to me how long an in-game M is.
In what unit? In inches?
No, on screen. Never mind. We can just
In pixels? You want to know how many pixels a meter is?
If a meter is about 3 feet, right?
Uh-huh.
And you see something that's 5 M, that would be
Uh-huh.
15 feet.
Yeah.
You know how short and close to you 5 M is, right? That's not 15 meter.
Yeah, but for all you know,
And
it
15
really is,
feet.
you know? Maybe Albion is different. You don't know.
Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. Whatever. I'll let the Germans determine how long it is. They probably know way better about M's than I do.